welcome back to the program. It's me, Paul, alone again. And this is a bit of an experiment. This is a short version of the episode. It is of a usual episode. Again, it's a movie commentary. It's the first 35 minutes of The Godfather. The way I've been doing movie commentaries, and because my attention span has an interesting, uh, it's not that great. I've been recording a lot of these in like 25, 30-minute spurts. So I did Jaws like that. I did Star Wars like that. I did Godfather like that, Taxi Driver, some other movies. And what ended up happening is that I actually never got back around to doing them. I will in the future. I will get back to it. But in the meantime, I figured, I recorded these months ago, so I figured, you know what? I'm gonna start putting some of them out there. Rather than waiting to go back and do the full episode or the full commentary. So that's what this is. Without further ado, enjoy, hopefully. Alrighty, The Godfather. I'm actually recording this after the intro or before the intro, so I don't know what future me said in the intro, but I probably will talk about how this is also kind of an over-discussed movie. Maybe I'll just record some. Well, I try to make those intros a minute long, so I don't know. But we just got the Paramount logo. Here we go. We got the little music going, the Puzo theme. I think this movie has a great connection to opera. Coppola's father or uncle, maybe. His father was a composer, but his uncle, I think, was an opera conductor, which explains a lot of the movie's tone. So, and I've been getting more into opera because of this movie. So, especially Italian stuff. So, Verdi, Puccini, uh, even Mozart's stuff, which is earlier than both of those guys. Those three. I've been listening quite a bit over the past year. The Great Monologue. I gave a freedom. I taught her never to dishonor her family. Yeah, I'll probably talk about it in the intro. I'm an Italian. She went to the movies. This is another over-discussed movie, kind of, sort of. Well, I'll say this for the intro.
2 months ago, he took her for a drive with another boyfriend. They made her drink whiskey. And then they tried to take advantage.
There's a connection to opera, and there's a connection to theater, which are both very old traditions, which kind of in itself lends it, because The Godfather is about the old becoming, like the transition from the old to the new, which is a huge influence on how I see story. Like a lot of my story this the past year is that transition. But this is theater, and this is very theatrical. It's like the way everything's staged, the way the dialogue's written out, the way even the camera moves. This could work on stage. To teach myself how to do drama on the stage, I've thought about. I guess I could even just do 10 minutes of it with 10 pages of it, adapting it to the theater, a movie. But a full adaptation would be pretty cool. It was done once. If you could Google, you could find someone. Actually, it was an all-woman cast did The Godfather with Shakespearean language. And yeah, this movie itself, it's American Shakespeare. Its place in American culture is the same as that of like Hamlet, basically, or King Lear, or Macbeth.
They went free that very day.
It's probably why it's so important to so many, especially older people. Like my father is this is his favorite movie. But I think that's why, because it speaks to I guess everything about America in a way. Which, as I'll probably talk about more, is an that's Vito's first line. It's an ambition that American movies kind of stopped trying, but anyway. A lot of the movies built a lot of the movie, what this movie's about, is in this first scene too. Uh it's about it's basically an adaptation. It's how do I put it's the immigrant experience, basically. And there's a lot of a big element of the movie is how Italian Americans, no one gave a fuck about them. And they had to rely on themselves to get justice. So, and the tension in the scene is what do you call it? Is the word undertaker? This man, this funeral person doer, he wanted to be a good American, but the system failed him. And now he has to go to Don Vito.
You're afraid to be like that. I didn't want to get into trouble.
Yeah, I mean, the whole movie is kind of like a lot of good first scenes of a film. The whole movie is here. Even the Paradise in America thing. I should mention too, I might have mentioned this in the intro maybe. I found this movie to be quite boring when I first watched it. I first watched it at 20 of all ages, to 19 actually. No, 20. Didn't get it. Was too addicted to the Star Wars shit. So, and as I said in the Star Wars commentary, I'm actually doing this right after Star Wars, so the first 25 minutes. This could not be more fucking different. It's theater, basically. Versus, it's Star Wars is like a light show compared to this. It's a concert. Or even a football game, maybe might be a good comparison. It's trying to overwhelm you. So, again, the way that the actors are moving, it's all theater. Brando, I know he was on stage for Streetcar Named Desire, but I don't know what other plays he did. He was in On the Waterfront from one of Coppola's heroes, Elia Kazan, who himself is one of the great, again, classical Hollywood directors. Kazan is like one of those directors where it's like, if you listen to Scorsese complain about movies, and you wonder, well, what does he want a movie to be? Let's talk about Kazan. That's basically the kind of movie, along with all the Italian, realist stuff he loved and loves. Coppola loved that stuff too. Part of New Hollywood it was like, even Coppola talks about this in like a minute-long video you can find on Facebook. New Hollywood came from basically a lot of beauty coming from all over the world. It was Japanese movies, it was Bergman, it was Italian neorealists, it was Fellini and Antonini, who are the successors to neorealists. It was the classical Hollywood stuff. So, though this movie itself, this is Casablanca. This is it's very classical Hollywood. I've read another reason why the movie is so worshipped is it mixes and matches 50 years of what films are. So it's neorealist, it's classical. Those are probably the two big influences, really. There's a really funny review from a movie comment. I'll try to explain it. I don't want to talk about the actual fucking movie, but there's a review show that covers mostly Star Wars and successors. And one of the reviewers who actually liked more than the other co-hosts or respect his opinions more. I do like them both. That says this plays like a documentary, basically, and it's true. It's Goodfellas even more so, by the way. In Taxi Driver, but yes, Scorsese's the documentary guy. Coppola's theater. He's opera. But what was I saying? But yeah, there's some really just you feel like you're in 1946, New York. This is New York. I forget. I'm from Staten Island, so I forget if the scene is in Staten Island. You got a little orange action going on there. One of the most famous elements is the orange ship. Barzini and you know, Barzini and what's his face meeting. Corleone, Vito, Sonny. Both dead. Well, attempts in his life. Barzini tries to kill them both. Paulie's in the pocket of Barzini. I think he is, because he lets them get to Vito. This is a very fucking slow movie. To make my point, I got another thought, and I really will probably it's I don't know what the word is. I thought about what if you wrote like a modern version of The Godfather using all the gross modern things that modern movies do? Or it's like the first scene's an action scene. You meet Michael in the second scene. Michael's clearly the main character. And like every 10 minutes is an action scene. And everything, there's no subtext, it's just text. I don't want to be like my dad. My dad's a bad man. He's bad. No, I will not be like my daddy. Like obvious shit like that. Because that's what I was expecting when watching this. Because what's funny, I love Breaking Bad, but Breaking Bad gives you that stuff. I mean, and the thing is, and I'll really get into this one because I've been really into this. It's the difference between genre fiction and drama. For as awesome as Breaking Bad is, it's a very genre type show. In a way, even Sopranos and The Wire's not. And even then, like The Wire, even is still a little genre, a little bit. This really is just it's drama. You have to give a shit about Sonny and Vito and Michael. You're not gonna, you know. Whereas genre fiction, it tries to make you give a shit because of the cool action scenes happening or the interesting suspense going on. So, but yeah, no, it plays like a drama. More meeting with his clientele, I guess. When the people of the community, Michael says like, "Oh, my father's like a senator," and this is power. He's doing people favors and getting favors from them. It's very. If he made a movie, which I have one recent idea, it'd be kind of cool, like take a president's like term and do it like a movie. I mean, Jimmy Carter would be interesting. I just thought of that. Just great ideas just come from me. But Bill Clinton was a recent one I was thinking about. I mean, Reagan I've thought about for a while. That'd be a great movie. Should I give this job? But this movie plays more like that stuff than The Town's a good example of just a straightforward crime movie. Even Hell or High Water, those are both great movies. What's funny too, I didn't know this. The Sicily theme, the love theme. I didn't know this until I guess I watched it. That's not the main theme of the movie. The other one is. Well, what's funny is that theme, the Sicily theme, does feel most apt in the tragedy of the movie. So I don't know. This is cool. You're seeing Vito, this powerful man, can't get his own son to like him more. This is a funny scene. This is a little bit of comedy with Luca Brasi. Again, even just beginning with a wedding, that's a theater and opera trope. Literature too. The first scene of War and Peace is basically that. It's a big ball, basically. This is the first scene you get. I guess this is the scene where you find out, yeah, Michael's not like his father. You got the war hero, you know, all the cool stuff.
Look terrific. I've got a Tom Higgins, Kay Adams. How you doing?
They look different. They obviously stand out too. I actually have the Coppola book he used while making the movie, like to just write out his notes and stuff. That's really cool. That's a gift from my father. And again, I got it before I watched The Godfather first time. I watched it with him, felt very bad, and didn't like it that much. So I'm very happy to report, along with Redmond, who is an avid lover of this movie. And a lot of movies I've grown to appreciate now, I should say. But I'm grateful to say I do like this. I don't. It's probably my favorite movie ever made, but I don't know. It's hard to. It is. It's the most impressive. It's the most impressive movie to me, and I do put it #1 movie ever made. Citizen Kane in 2001 are like right behind it, but those three alone, that's to me. And I guess they're all American. I guess I don't know what that says. I've thought about maybe Seven Samurai might be the best. Kubrick and Coppola love Kurosawa. He's probably the most admired director, but I don't know. He might be the best movie ever. That might be the best movie ever made. And even Seven Samurai too. I get shit. I get much. A friend of mine, Garrett, gave it shit for being basically predecessor to the Avengers, basically. And it gets read a lot as an action movie. To me, it's not. It's drama. It's too fucking slow. And in a good way, it's slow, but it's slow. It's drama. She's not in the second movie, Sonya's wife. In fact, I don't. She has like only 2 scenes. See, all this shit in the crime drama, the modern one, you cut all this out completely. You can easily probably get this movie down to 2 hours. Look at this Italian shit. Why are they saying? Why are they saying? But it's like because it's a drama. You're building this idea of an immigrant community in this new country, basically. Another idea I got influenced by The Godfather. Well, there's 2. I wanted to do a drama set during the German unification. That'd be pretty cool. Like again, this kind of thing, like just a 10-year-long family drama. And it's funny because there's a few different kinds of family dramas, and a lot of it depends on how rich the family is and how important. So the Coppola, they're royalty. The Coppolas are royalty. That's Coppolas. The Corleones are royalty. So that's So in this German unification drama, the family would be like a very wealthy family. But you also do it where they're a poor family or a class family. What's really fun is I want to. It'd be cool for me to mix the 3, where it's like you have family members who are of different classes. That's really interesting. I wonder if Sinatra was ever. That's a riff on Sinatra. I actually don't know if he has any mob connections. See, what's funny is again, the mob has become such a genre fixation for American fiction, but what's it called? Um, it's not like it wasn't made up. See, it's shit like that, like the Vito and Tom having one. That's really cool. Like it's just it's very human. But this is weird. Like the mob happened. It's not like a plot element that movies made up. It feels that way. It really does, especially to a modern audience. But this is real. I was mistaken too. This is the scene where Michael talks about not being like his father's right now. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, the mob is real, and the movie is. It's like the mob happened again because of no one gave a fuck about the Italians. They needed to protect their own. I think I explained it once, probably on a Reddit comment. Especially 1 and 2, it's basically about how a nation of immigrants became a nation of bombing other people's countries, basically. That's the Godfather, and how capitalism in America corrupted itself, basically. It's not just like Manchester by the Sea is a person drama. Like there's no political implications there. Moonlight actually is a political drama in a way. It's about someone in a certain social class and explores that. But Manchester by the Sea, no. But The Godfather, yeah, it's of that tradition of it's a and that's where the neorealist stuff comes in. That's about it's especially neorealism. That was about exploring people who weren't looked at that often. What's funny that it's actually very Christian to do that, which is funny because again, Star Wars is a sort of modern gospel for a lot of atheists. But anyway, Luca Brasi held a gun to his head, and my father assured him that either his brains or his signature would be on the contract. And I kind of have a hard time even seeing Vito do that, but it's it's a true story. This is cool contrast with the beautiful singing and the story that Michael just told. That's my family. It's not me. Amazing line. Yeah, see what's fun. Again, a lot of my generation. It's again, I won't name because this is a little mean, but there's a podcaster I know who I'm friendly with. He loves The Godfather, but again, also the Marvel stuff. But also, he loves this movie. I just wonder how he sees this movie. Like I wonder if he recognizes just how different it is from Marvel and Star Wars. Like how fundamentally different it is. This is one shot. Again, so many of the older movies, it's all like wide shots. It's like medium wides. Even Sopranos, even Scorsese started to do it where he doesn't, he's doing more medium close-ups and close-ups now. Both of them, Scorsese and David Chase. Breaking Bad. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I wonder if like Kurosawa would have done that if he was around today. Like, I don't know if I don't know. Because there's a certain artistic beauty to that. The idea of just, staying wide more. John Ford did it. There's a beauty to that I don't know. It feels a little lost. I was watching Succession, or a few scenes from it, and again, it's cut the modern way. And I just wonder if it would gain something if it was shot like this. I don't know. Maybe not. Because again, even Scorsese directs like The Departed is very much shot in the same ADHD way. A lot of other stuff to shot for that. It's also been like Nerd Writer, but also my college course is pointing out this out to me. A really simple way to break down pacing in a movie is just count the shots. I mean, and Nerd Writer just said, yeah, just count the shots. But my screenwriter, my class, it was a cinema studies class. What you do is you count the shot length, you state what the shot is, what kind of shot it is. And I think you had to state what was going on in the shot. And that's a good way. It's a good way to teach yourself the reference. So it's funny that how much shit I was exposed to in college that I wasn't using then, but I am now. So that's college education, I guess. This is the one time you see Leo act like Sonny. This is actually the one scene. This is the only scene you see that. Because Coppola said these characters, they're a mix of Vito is a mix of Sonny, Fredo, and Michael. And the tragedy is that Michael, that they each lack something that Vito had. That kind of means that they won't be good Dons. I wonder if Tom would have made a good Don. He has the cool grip, but he might not have the ruthlessness Vito had. Maybe. I don't know. Because someone even on YouTube pointed out how soulless Tom is in the scene where in the second movie with the senator and the prostitute, and how he just doesn't give a shit about the prostitute like at all. And you just have there's something soulless about that. So it's a cool little moment with Vito exhausted. Again, you keep cutting this goddamn wedding. This is interesting. This again, so the closest Hamlet is the closest predecessor, I'd say, to Godfather. I mean, really, the Godfather, to me, it's a perfect mix of Macbeth, Hamlet, and King Lear. Because you got the King Lear 3 children thing, you got the Hamlet, relationship with the father thing, and you got, living up to the father thing, and then you got the Macbeth corruption of the soul thing. So Hamlet has that too of it, where it's like Hamlet's a lot, to me, I think it's a lot about loss as well. I mean, Hamlet loses his mind a little bit, but I guess you could read Hamlet as like Hamlet loses himself in his quest for vengeance in a way. Which again is done so many times so obviously. This is cool, the Puzo theme. Shows up, I think. Well, I don't know if it's played in universe. In the second one it is. It's it's source music, but I don't know. I think it shows up in I do really enjoy Godfather 2, by the way, but I think it shows up in Godfather 2 as well. A dancing scene with the Puzo theme. Hamlet. I think it's fair to say Hamlet's about loss. Oh, this is the end of Act 1. Well, kinda. Act 1, well, we'll get into that later. There's probably a few places you could put the end of Act 1. Even John August says Act 1 ends with Vito getting shot, which could be true. I think he puts that as the inciting incident. It's funny too, a movie about this is such a classic Hollywood picture, and in the movie, pictures are the movie industry is represented. What was I saying? Yeah, Hamlet and what? Oh, vengeance. Yeah, Hamlet's about vengeance, but it does it in a very different way than modern American fiction does. It does it in a lot. It's a lot more interesting. Why is it more interesting? I gotta think about it. There's a clear difference, though. I mean, a part of it is it gets into sort of even in a great lecture that Kurt Vonnegut did. He talks about the idea of good news and bad news, and how a lot of genre fiction. Well, he doesn't mention the word genre fiction, but he says a lot of stories will make it obvious what the good and bad news is. But part of what makes literary fiction is that line is not as obvious. Like it's so unclear, and Hamlet's about that lack of clarity in a lot of ways. So, and a lot of great fiction is about lack of clarity. So it's like, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, I'd say, especially Dostoevsky. It's like a grand questioning is what the work is about. Even like what's funny too, I remember being caught at thinking either there's the idea that a story is about a question and the story answers it, a thematic question. But then there's stuff that doesn't answer it. And that's usually seen as more literary. The Early Blood is a classic example. The works of Thomas Anderson, obviously. But yeah, not answering the thematic question is usually associated with literary work. I should mention too the corruption of Vito is and the Corleone family. It feels inevitable in a very Greek way, because there's a bit like Shakespearean characters usually choose their downfall, but in Greek tragedy, it's caused by the gods and fate. And it seems Coppola, as a great tragedian, perhaps, and Puzo too. He credits a lot of the work to Puzo, but it's been said too the Puzo book is very pulpy. It's not the opera Shakespeare drama that Coppola's made it. But yeah, perhaps Coppola sees the corruption of America as inevitable, which is a really deep fucking thing that you probably can't make a movie about today, which is very sad. Maybe probably make a play about it though in the book, which is where this stuff all comes from anyway. Dostoevsky actually was also a huge influence on Puzo. That was his favorite writer, and the three brothers of Brothers Karamazov you see in the brothers of Corleone, and I think there even was a fourth brother, or there's a fourth brother who's adopted in that book. I don't know. I'm going to run him out of the business. And let me tell you why. Johnny Fontaine ruled. Yeah, so they're showing like the pushing of the set, like set work and like manipulating the set, the actors manipulating the set. That's fear. Movie actors usually don't really do that. Movie scenes aren't really directed like that. And let me be even more frank. So that's just interesting. Jenkins actually kind of does that in a few of the things I watched. I watched bits of Beale Street and Underground Railroad, and he does a lot of long takes and sort of just staying in a one take in a dramatic scene. Because usually one take, especially nowadays, it's associated with like an action scene that's just shot in a one. But it's for it can be done in a theater way too. And yeah, Coppola cuts a little more than Kurosawa does, or Billy Wilder does, or Hawks does. Or even I think Casablanca. I think there's a little more cuts to Casablanca, but just a little more close-ups than a classical Hollywood movie would do. I think even Bergman does a little less close-ups, but well, anyway. But yeah, it's still a lot of wide shots and medium wides. And this is the big scene. I probably placed Act One of the I think. Because then the Solatsu story begins, and that's really the beginning of the movie in a way. Because this you're just showing the power of Vito in this scene. Yep, dead soon. And fade out, fade in the Vito. Yeah. And it feels like Vito was just told everything about in that scene. Like he was just told that story right now. So
Solazzo, known as the Turk, supposed to be very good with a knife. Only matters of business with some sort of reasonable. Business is not.
and that was The Godfather. I should be uploading another episode. I don't want to. Should be next week, sometime soon. Because again, I have about 7 or 8 of these on my hard drive. So slowly, I'll just be releasing them one by one, and then I'll get back to doing the full commentaries. Well, I could either do I could either do it either, again, 30-minute episodes, or I could do the full 2 hour, 2.5 hours, depending on, again, if I, with The Godfather, I could watch the rest of the movie and then release that as a one episode, or I could do another 30-minute spurt and then release that. So I'll see. But that's that. Until next time,